And walk. Always wanted to do that. This is pretty exciting, guys. It's not every day that I'm surrounded by 4 beautiful girls. It's normally a lot more. I'm pretty popular around Australia. So what is your role exactly?
We're basically just here to promote Jack Daniels and be really good looking as well.
That's why I feel so at home. Now, I realise we're about to get to the camera, so is it okay if we start walking backwards? Because I thought the interview was going to be a bit shorter. So, yeah, we'll just keep walking, So, this is obviously fun to get amongst V8s. And are you huge racing fans?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Like for Todd Kelly.
Okay, now we're a bit far away from the camera. We're going to have to walk forward again, guys. Was it embarrassing that you all wore exactly the same dress?
It was a little bit embarrassing.
Okay, we're too close to the camera, too close. Back this way. Okay, guys, well, I'm just wasting time because I'm enjoying your company. But have a great weekend, and I got to go. Bye. See you later. See ya. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, the good thing about Sam Mack is that he's not only multi-talented but brutally honest as well, and we'll check in with him a little later on. Well, of course, Scott McLaughlin, the young Kiwi, turned the V8 Supercars world on its head just a couple of years ago when he became the youngest ever race winner in a thrilling race over at Pukekohe in his home country of New Zealand. And here last year on the Saturday, it was an epic finish when he got inside Jamie Whincup to get on the podium, race 2 on Saturday, and put Volvo on the map in their first ever event in their return to V8 Supercars. Put simply, this young bloke is the real deal. So let's find out a bit more about him, and we send Jack Perkins out to have a chat with his good mate.
Scotty, we're here at Todd Road Go-Kart Track, a place where not only you and I, but plenty of young racers have come and tried to show their craft. What's it feel like to be back here now?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty good to be able to have a bit of a jam around with you. There's no pressure. It's just good fun racing, what motorsport's all about, just being pure. So, yeah, I really enjoy it.
Tell us about your young years. Why'd you go karting? Did your dad race? What was the interest?
Yeah, well, before I was born, Mum and Dad raced together, and apparently the story goes Mum was better than my dad, so I get my driving from my mum.
You're not the only one that would say that, mate.
We were at the motor show in Hamilton, New Zealand, and walked past the kart, and there was a have-a-go day the next day, and Dad's like, you want to have a crack? I'm 6 years old, you know, you have a crack at anything. So went out and I really enjoyed it, and from then it was just, you know, it's been crazy. It's just been a whirlwind tour.
Carrying the world on your shoulders.
Do you remember when you got your first trophy?
Yeah, I slept with it, mate. Yeah, I slept with it the first time I got it. Back in the day when I won that New Zealand Championship in karts, Dad sort of said, you know, the only way if Scott was ever to get into V8 Supercars was be in Australia. Mum and Dad took a big risk, you know, if it went wrong, we're all in the crapper and probably going to be going back to New Zealand, as well as my sister. My sister took a lot of sacrifices for me to have my career as well, so for them to be there at every race nearly is a big thing for me, and I'm a big family dude, so it's great to have them a part of it.
Went straight into V8 Supercars as a 16-year-old, the youngest guy to race. Why was that? I know there's a little bit of a story there.
Yeah, Dad was the president of the Hamilton Kart Club where I used to kart, and we knew a guy named Michael McHugh really well. And unfortunately, Michael died in a Formula Ford crash the year 2003. And ever since then, Dad said, even if we ever get into cars or whatever, you're never going on a Formula Ford, which I had to respect. But basically, since about May 2010, I've just been in a V8 Supercar my whole career.
So you're 16, you're racing V8 Supercars, you're not allowed to drive a V8 on the road. You started your trade. What are the rest of your mates doing?
Well, partying.
But you've always enjoyed a beer too, so you've got to keep everything in moderation, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And sometimes when you got mates like yourself, they sort of push that over the edge a bit and I sort of struggle, but everything in moderation, Jack.
But you've got to celebrate the victories, don't you?
Oh, 100%, you've got to celebrate the victories.
I've seen you on the dance floor.
It's goes good. There's a couple of times there just singing to the girls, you know, I've got my red dress on. Don't tell Tegan that though, but
well, it's, you know, we should bring up Tegan. You've just moved in with your girlfriend, and I think there's a similar scenario to your mum and dad. You raced against Tegan in karts, didn't you?
Yeah. She got in the way a few times and had to put her in the fence a couple. No. She was.
So she was in front of you?
Yeah. Reverse grid, mate.
In the second on debut,
gunning for nothing short than a championship win this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, we got fifth last year, and there's not much higher that you can aim apart from a championship. So basically, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not a cocky person or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's either championship or nothing, and I'll be going out as hard as I can. You know how I drive. I'll be driving as hard as I can to get it.
And Scott McLaughlin gets home by 2 car lengths. What a great first year.
This Volvo thing all came out with a bang last year at Clipsal because you're known as the guy that dropped the F-bomb on live TV.
Holy cow. I don't know what happened on there. I just plucked her in first and gave some jandal. Yeah, sorry. Oh, everyone liked it. Mum was into me about it. She doesn't like swearing that much. But
she would.
Yeah. But I was just excited, man. I was just like I was talking to you about it, but I just forgot that was on live TV in prime time, so... Sorry to all the little kids out there. You know, if I beat you in the kart today, I might rip one of those, but we might beep it out before then.
So let's have an old-fashioned drag race, eh? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon all good. Let's do it. Should be all right.
Let's do it. Righto, Scotty, on my count. 3, 2, 1. Well, S-Mac, I'm pretty happy to win that one. Absolutely convincingly, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's obviously all the Holden drivers need a head start.
Oh, please, it wasn't a head start, it was just really good reaction time.
Yeah, never again you're beating me.
Oh, but, yeah. Mate, I'm glad I beat you, though.
Yeah, they're very good mates, Jack Perkins and Scott McLaughlin, and we'll see a lot more, I think, of Scott McLaughlin on the top step of the podium in the years to come. And depending, you know, how the cards fall, Mark, I think he's a definite champion in the waiting. Of what you've seen of him so far, what impresses you the most about Scotty?
Well, I think obviously he's got his head screwed on pretty quickly. You can see that coming over from New Zealand, which does make me laugh. They talk about Australia like it's a huge move to coming to us. It's just across the pond there. I've got a couple of Kiwi mates and it's like, oh, we've got to move to Australia. So interesting to hear that in the interview, but it sounds like obviously his family made a huge commitment as well, which is not trivial for them, of course. So he's delivered on that, and now obviously he's on this crest coming through, new manufacturer, you know, getting some good results, and just, you know, he's got to keep the batting average up there as long as possible. Obviously, the teams will be after him and not get ahead of himself. I
was in the commentary box the day that he won his first race at Pukekohe. It was, mate, it was awesome. It was insane. I mean, home crowd, they were on their feet. You could hear the roar over the cars themselves. What really got me about Scott was the next day he came out and went straight into the wall. Yeah. Bang, big crash. You know what he did? He spent the entire night with the guys, fixing the car, cleaning up. He's one of those hands-on guys. And at Gary Rogers Motorsport, you don't get very far if you don't abide by the rules that Gary sets down. Yeah, I think that's obviously a very good learning trade for him under Gary, and those guys are, like you say, a team effort. If you've made a decent faux pas, you've got to get in there and get some dirt under your nails, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter what you've achieved. What piece of advice would you give Scott, who's already on the way? You know, we know that, and he's got good support behind him, but what piece of advice would you give him for the next 5-10 years? He can be around for a long time if he wants. That's right, yeah. I think he's got to control his energy levels. Obviously, they're long seasons. Make sure that he always has a nice break at the end of each season, and just never stop learning. There's always opportunity to improve and keep learning, and surround yourself with good people. Be a sponge, soak up as much information as you can, and yeah, draw good people around you as well, because you know there's these little moments where you can be easy, row 3, row 4, and you have a few of those, and all of a sudden life can be a little bit more difficult. So for him, I think just having those areas and mentality where he can just keep improving, and knowing that it's not going to be enough just to keep staying where he is. Nice little anecdote too, I can tell you. You would have seen in that package that he had car number 33, and all those old photos, not old because he's only 21, but all those photos, he had cart number 33. When he arrived at Gary Rogers Motorsport, he was originally meant to be in 34, and they said to him, you know what, let's switch it around. So the synergy that's gone through his young career has all played out for him. And like you say though, there will be a bump along the way. Is that the defining feature of a race car driver? Yeah. How you handle it? Of a race car driver, and every sportsman and woman around the world, or whatever profession you're in, you're going to have some headwinds, and you've got to deal with those headwinds. And it's applying yourself, making sure you punch through them, out the other side, learn from it, and improve. All right, let's take a break here at the Clipsal 500 because the Porsche Carrera Cup is getting ready to roll. Stick around.
have the right idea. They're here as part of the Beachwear Parade, which is not surprisingly one of the most popular attractions down here at the course. You know what, there's a lot of men here. I thought they were interested in the cars, but it turns out it's not just the chassis out there that they're interested in.
Thank you, Nat Hunter. We're going to focus on the racing now because the Porsche Carrera Cup's out on track and getting ready to roll. Of course, you're now a Porsche man in the World Endurance Championship. I haven't had the time really to ask you how you're going. How are you enjoying that change?
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, first year went really, really well, apart from the little mishap in Brazil. But I think that... yeah, they ticked all the boxes, mate. We had pole positions, we had podiums, we had a win at the end with the 14 car, which was great. And they're full on into it. I mean, they're spending some coin. They want to win some races. Obviously, in the future, we've got Le Mans coming up this year, which is our big race, and obviously the World Championship.
Good thing is you get to cheer on everyone in this field because they're all the same cars, the Carrera Cup.
Yeah.
Headlined by Stephen Richards, multiple Bathurst winner. He will start from the front row of the grid. Your commentators here, Alex Davison and Chad Nayland.
So Foster, your pole sitter, stuck at the pit exit, will not be taking the start of this race. Stephen Richards knows that pain. He had it happen to him, well, quite similarly at Sandown, where he pulled in on the formation lap and didn't take the start of a race, nearly cost him the championship. So McBride and Russell will get a slight advantage out of that. There are some fast guys to watch out for further in the pack, including Craig Baird, multiple series champ. He'll be coming out of position number 7 in car number 8. And Michael Armand, who's a very experienced Porsche racer, also a bit further back in this pack. So despite the fact that McBride is gone, that Foster is gone, we still have a number of killer cars in this field, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how Bairdo goes from row number 4.
He'll be charging for sure, and I'm looking forward to seeing him slice through the field. He's very, very good at overtaking cleanly and making his way through the field. Stephen Richards now has a clean line from second on the grid into the first corner, so I'm sure we'll see him, barring disaster, lead into turn 1.
The team would have been on the radio to let him know, to say that it's all yours, the front row now. Man, oh man, the Michelin tyres will be working today. It's 35 degrees in the air.
What's Division Padiachi doing? He's pulling off to the side as well. And what is going on here today?
He's flashing his lights.
Maybe he's either missed his pit bay, which would be very odd.
Well, he's got his BRM team there, standing right next to it. They would have been there to tell him.
All sorts of weirdness going on here. We've got Nick Foster, Adrian Mastronato, now Division Padiachi with problems on the starting grid.
Well, I'd be very surprised if they wave the green flag at the back of this one. He's still flashing his headlights to let him know that there's a problem. Surely they'll wave off this start, although someone's already on the limiter thinking that we're going to get this start going. And for Division, this is extremely disappointing.
And odd that his car's moving forward. He's able to drive his car forward. Okay, start's been abandoned for now. They've got to sort this mess out. Like, Padiachi is driving his car forwards now. I have no idea what's actually going on. The same with Adrian Mastronato, who's able to drive his car to the pit lane exit, but obviously feels he can't start the race. So
could have been something, sorry, Alex, like maybe he's stuck in a higher gear and he didn't want to sit on the start line or something like that, knowing he might get rear-ended.
Absolutely. But, I mean, for such reliable cars, we never saw any of these problems last year with the sequential paddle shift gearbox.
Man, we've got 3 guys out of the race before it even started.
Something today. Here we go. We're actually getting a start now. We've got the 5-second board being shown. They're not doing another warm-up lap, so ready for the start.
Okay. Sensational in different kind of ways. Stephen Richards has the front row all to himself in a brand new season. In 2015 is go. Oh, we've got a staller further back. It's the local boy, it's Hodge. Simon Hodge is not going anywhere. He gets the car started. Matt Campbell also stuck on the start line. The 2 rookies with a shocker.
And both guys on the second row of the grid, Nick McBride and David Russell, getting fantastic starts, but Steve Richards did just enough to stay in front.
Russell goes offensive in the Finance Easy Porsche. McBride will have to stay at bay, back in 3rd position.
And Craig Baird up to 4th already. Obviously, he's lost 1 car in front of him, or 2 cars in front of him, which was lucky. Stephen Richards with 3 or 4, well, now probably 1 or 2 car lengths lead. That's enough that he doesn't have to defend, so he'll have his head down and try and make the most of it and get a bit of a break from David Russell. We know David Russell's a hard charger. If he's within a car length, you know he's going to have a big lunge.
Saw Tony Bates running wide as we go through turn 8 for the first time.
What a fantastic shot. We can see these guys using all the roads. Stephen Richards clear. He doesn't need to block. Who have we got coming down the inside here?
This is a brave move, and it's McConville.
It's Cam McConville with the rears locked up the inside of Stephen Grove, right on the limit. Grove did a great job giving him some space. Really smart racing because Cam was struggling to pull up and didn't quite have his car in, but good move, good driving from both guys there.
Man, the OPS Gateway car, very good under brakes, and Cam McConville, the former boss of Porsche Motorsport, doing a great job getting that thing stopped in only his first ever Carrera Cup race. He now moves up to 8th. He's behind Tony Bates, the first of our challenge runners, who's doing a great job to be 7th outright. And Richard Muscat brings it home for his first lap in Carrera Cup in 5th, or at least first as a full-time driver in 2015.
See the guys using plenty of curb through the turn 1-2 chicane. Car's nice and stiff, but if you hit that curb on the right angle, they stay pretty stable. On board here with Michael Armand, with Roger Largo in front of him. You can see the car's nearly pulling air under brakes there. If you listen carefully, you hear the rear wheels locking up with all that gearbox chatter. Roger Largo doing a great job in front. Mike Armand obviously in the professional category. Roger Largo, big slide on the exit of turn 7.
Geez, he did well to save that with the engine in the back. Once these things start going, they're hard to catch.
Absolutely. So here we go, shifting up through the gears. We'll get up to 5th gear on the approach to the infamous turn 8. A light brake just at the 50-metre board, carrying good speed through there. Look at the ground he's made up on Roger Largo. And McConville up the inside again of Tony Bates. Batesy not being quite as polite as Steve Grove was the lap before, and turning in as he was entitled to do. Cameron wasn't far enough up alongside him, but he's racing hard for his position.
Oh, here we go. The battle is on right now.
Talking about hard racing, as we spoke about earlier in the weekend, the battle that, here we go, McConville up the inside into the last corner, getting past Tony Bates, who was the fastest challenge competitor in qualifying today. But all the Tag Heuer challenge competitors, don't underestimate how seriously they take this challenge competition. They want to win the Tag Heuer Challenge Award at the end of the year, and they race as hard for that win. Oh my God, look at all the stalled cars.
Man, that was a very dangerous moment. Simon Hodge, local F3 winner.
Oh, Grove getting a fantastic...
Oh! Man, that was close. How was the reactions?
Yeah, first, I mean, great. As I said, Steve Grove has only got a few years of experience, and he's very impressive. His learning curve has been unbelievable over the last 3 or 4 seasons.
That's proven.
Yep, absolutely. Not a professional racer, not what he does as a living, and to have reactions like that is really, really impressive. But these guys are racing tooth and nail. It's as important to them as the outright championship is for the professional guys. Fraser Ross here, all over the back of Roger Largo. Not a spot where he wants to stick his nose in at turn 8, but he's close enough to have a lunge at turn 9, as we see Mike Armand up the inside of Stephen Groves. Nice, clean move.
As you'd expect, turn 9 is the place to get a lot of these moves done, and there is an extremely disappointed Nick Foster. Word out of Porsche is a suspected broken drive shaft.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's the exact same thing that happened to Stephen Richards. So when you're trying to get hit with the tyres, you're smashing the throttle, puts a lot of strain on the drive shaft. That's how they break on the formation lap.
Yeah, and look, tracks like this, which are very bumpy, with the turn 1-2 chicane, all the bumps through 4, 5, 6, 7. The cars are sort of nearly coming off the ground, wheel spinning, then landing. It does put big loads through those drive shafts. But I have to say, Porsche Carrera Cup cars are normally very reliable and strong in that regard, so surprising to see something like that happen this early in the season. Especially with a team like Sonic Motor Racing Services, their preparation and attention to detail is second to none.
On board with your race leader and defending champ, Stephen Richards.
Steve got a little bit of a break. He's 0.75 in front of David Russell.
Here we go, turn 8, one of the most infamous corners in the country. Hold on.
You can hear just a little lift, a light brake, and then back on the gas by the apex. Over 200 kilometres an hour minimum speed at that corner. And Steve makes it look easy, doesn't he?
And the Porsche's just getting on the rev limiter as well at the top of the straight. Hard on the brakes down towards turn 9. Are we going to see a move here? To the right goes Fraser Ross.
Oh, he's got his nose in, but again, made a really good decision there. Had a bit of a look, realised he wasn't going to get in that gap far enough, and pulled the pin while he had a chance.
It's close towards the front, but no moves as of yet. Craig Baird lurking in 4th position. And a few guys getting a warning about the curves down in the centre chicane.
Cameron McConville, number 14.
Listen to that 991 scream through the final sector. Oh dear, it's Tony Bates. He's around, he's facing the wrong way. Oh, it's an awkward spot to gather it back up as well.
Tony's got to be careful there. Oh!
contact with Shane Smolin when he hit off a reverse.
Look, that was a little bit silly. When you're stuck in a corner like that, you have to be really sure that there's no cars coming. And poor Shane Smolin, through no fault of his own, has been turned around. Here we go. Michael Arman up the inside of Tony Bates. Didn't quite have his car in enough. Tony Bates obviously not seeing him and turning in hard to the corner. Batesy gets turned around. Arman continues on his way, but then when Tony went to try and turn around, it all got a little bit messy.
How hard are these things to get the flick turn done?
Look, with a bit of practice, it's not too hard. You rev it. They got 450. Look at that. Look, I really feel for Shane Smolin. I know his goal coming into this weekend was to stay out of trouble, and he got spun around there through no fault of his own at all. So
the runner-up in last year's challenge category turned around for the man who finished third, and this battle is absolutely raging. Luckily for Stephen Grove, there's a fair bit of room to move out there. Turn 8's next, and the boys are warring away.
Here we go, approaching turn 8. Steve Grove will be a little bit, this is a perfect opportunity. He could get a little bit flustered after getting muscled out of the way by a couple of cars. But I'm sure he'll hang with these guys. A really fierce challenge competitor, and this is a fantastic battle for second, third and fourth in the challenge category. Largo up the inside of Stephen Grove, and Fraser Ross doing a good job to follow his way through there. Grove lucky not to go into the outside wall, pulling air over that exit curb at turn 7.
Well, Largo's actually inherited the lead of the challenge category.
With Batesy spinning out, you're right.
And that'd be bad news then for Grove, who got punted off then, and we've actually been fighting for the race win. Although it's not over yet, Fraser Ross, who is a pro driver, not running in the challenge category this weekend, is all over the back of him. This is for 9th outright. And he'd almost be smart just to let Fraser go here. He's getting absolutely hounded. Fraser very late, and found the outside.
On the outside, fantastic move. Good commitment over the bumps there. These cars don't have ABS, so when the car's launching through the air like that, it's up to the driver to modulate the brake pressure and control that locking. So we'll see here if Fraser Ross can extend the lead over Roger Largo. He should be able to, because he's been showing great pace up until this point.
And that'll put Largo back to 10th, meaning that the top 9 are all our pro class drivers, and our challenge drivers now outside or 10th and backwards. And I wonder if just maybe Grove can close up on Largo. Largo pushing very hard through turn 8 still.
Well, look at the ground he made up through turn 8 and under brakes into turn 9. So he's not giving up on that position at all. And up the front, David Russell has stabilised that gap to Stephen Richards. It's staying at 1.9. It's sort of floating between 1.8, 1.9. So whether or not Steve's happy enough with that close to 2-second lead and sort of just doing all he needs to, or whether David's finding some pace as the race goes on.
Both Craig Baird and also Richard Muscat just turned their own personal best laps of the race as we watch the leader at work. Use your right hand to go up the gears, your left hand to go back down on the paddle shift.
Steve looking nice and relaxed, as you'd expect from a seasoned professional like Steve Richards. Nice and relaxed, very smooth. These cars are very aggressive to drive. They're very reactive over the bump, so it's not unusual to see a lot of wheel work, but Steve obviously really happy with his car setup and able to drive the car beautifully smoothly.
You get 2 sets of Michelins to use across qualifying and the 3 races, so when you can build a lead like that and look after the tyres, it's happy times, because it'll make the rest of the weekend just that little bit easier. You'll have a front row start and hopefully some fresh tyres to bolt on for the rest of the weekend.
3 laps left. The Dave Russell, Nick McBride, Craig Baird battle is sort of, they've all got about a half a second gap between each other and not much happening there. I'm hoping one of these guys is going to find a bit of pace and we're going to see a bit of action in the last couple of laps. But all looking a little bit stagnant at the moment here in this battle for second, third and fourth. Steve Richards very comfortable out in front. As the laps remaining ticks down to 2 laps left, Steve will be very happy to see that.
Spike Goddard's been given his first bad sportsmanship flag, and that's for jumping over the curbs. Mark Sini's also caught one, as too has the number 23 of Roger Largo, who was involved with that massive battle earlier with Fraser Ross, and he's actually up to his 4th now, is Roger Largo, in terms of curb hops.
And Cam McConville just moving up to 6th place, getting the better of Spike Goddard. We didn't see that move on the footage, but Cam's had a fantastic race showing some pretty good pace. He's down to only a couple of tenths off Steve Richards' best lap. So Cam McConville obviously getting the feel and getting used to these 991 Carrera Cup cars very quickly.
Oh, Beto is lurking. Here comes Craig Baird.
McBride getting a little bit defensive there. This is the opportunity where he's got to stay cool. He has the pace to keep that little 1 or 2 car length buffer between him and Craig Baird if he doesn't get too defensive. On the last lap, if he chokes and gets too defensive, that'll be what Craig's looking for, to put the pressure on and attack.
Shane Warne used to love it when batsmen used to pad up to him. Craig Baird loves it when a driver's on the defensive. No, it's Goddard.
Minor damage to the, well, actually not that minor, but damage to the rear of the car. We saw the rear wing all bent up and the rear bumper. Surprised he isn't able to continue. Obviously, you wouldn't want to continue at speed, but it didn't look like any mechanical damage apart from bodywork. Let's look at the front of McConville's car, make sure nothing happened as they were racing each other.
There was some red and yellow flags being held out in that area saying that there's something on the track, whether it be debris or also some fluid. What a great return to full-time driving in Carrera Cup this has been for David Russell in the Finance Easy Porsche. Staying balanced in second, and I wonder if Craig Baird can line up a move for third. This is the place to do it. Get a good run through turn 8 and lunge down at turn 9. The corner where the Porsches love to make a pass stick. Has he got the first box ticked?
He's close enough to have a look at least. We've seen McBride get a little bit defensive on the last couple of laps and allowed David Russell just to get away. This race isn't over yet. There's still a really good passing opportunity for Craig Baird at the last corner, so he'll be thinking about that right now.
Can he line it up? Meanwhile, the Laser Plumbing and Electrical Porsche is looking good for another race win. What a way to start the campaign in 2015. The champion from last year is heading home for the first checkered flag, and in the background, Craig Baird has not done enough to get around the Sonic car, so it's bittersweet for Sonic today as Stephen Richards takes the first race of Porsche Carrera Cup in 2015.
And the commanding victory too. He controlled that race. He held the gap at around 2 seconds or 1.9 seconds and was doing it easy.
David Russell will take second and also managed to maintain that gap nicely back to Nick McBride, who had his hands well and truly full. And meanwhile, the battle is on. Roger Largo. And this is Tony Bates trying to hold on. So Largo does cross the line in front of us there. And Simon Hodge couldn't quite get around Tony Bates after stalling it on the start. That's not a bad way to recover to finish 11th in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Bates getting over the line in 10th. Second in the challenge class. Roger Largo taking out the Tag Heuer challenge class. We'll be interested to see what happens with Tony Bates and Shane Smollen, obviously getting turned around through no fault of his own.
And Campbell, Foster and Pagliacci are the heartbreak stories, not getting to the start of the race, and looking forward to seeing them come from the back of the grid later.
Sundays 4 to 5, RPM is back. Right here on 10. For the latest from the world of V8 supercars, Formula 1, MotoGP, and a whole lot more, make sure you join us. RPM, Sundays 4 to 5.